Hey, welcome back. In today's video, we're gonna create this BAGMAN title animation inside After Effects. So let's get started. All right, let's create a new composition. Rename this main comp, and it's gonna be full HD, 5 seconds. Hit OK. And what I'm gonna do is create a title first of all. So BAGMAN. Okay. So I'm using this font, by the way, and I'm gonna add an rough and edges to this. Rough and edges, and go to the border and decrease from 8 to 5. Okay, so you can also grab the project file and all the assets from my Patreon page by becoming a paid Patreon member, and that's also the way you can support what I do. I would really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and pre-compose this. Control Shift and C to pre-compose it. I'm going to rename this title. Okay, and if you see the animation, we have to split the text into half. So what I'm going to do is turn on the title action safe so that you can know the middle. I'm going to select on the title, grab the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to draw a mask, something like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this, hit M and change the mask from add to subtract. So you're just adding it back. So what you have is the bottom and the top and the bottom. Okay, so right now we will have to animate the opening of the text. Okay, so I'm gonna add an effect called CC Bandit, and I'm gonna change the start to this point, and I'm gonna just pick on the end and move it here. So if I increase the values, you can see you have some values here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with 8, go to the first frame, set a keyframe for the band amount, and move forward a few frames, and I'm just gonna set this back to 0. So if I play it back, you have this, hit U, and I'm just going to select all the keyframes, F9 for easy ease. Alright, so I'm happy with that. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy the bandit, Control C, and paste this to the other half of the text, Control V to paste it. So right now we have the text bending at the same direction, which we don't want. We're just going to reverse that on the first keyframe, right? Only on the first keyframe. We want this to be a -8. So we have the same animation right now. All right. So once you're happy with that, I'm going to select both of these, and I'm just going to pre-compose it again, Control Shift and C, and I'm just going to rename this main title. Okay, this is the main title now. So bam. All right, so now that we have the text animation in place, we're just going to build the zipper line. So I found a very interesting way to build that by using the pen tool, and I'm just going to use this stroke, white stroke for now, 1 pixel. And if I zoom in and go and click here, hold down Shift and click on this, so we have a straight line. You can just click away, you can have a straight line like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another line here. Click here, hold down Shift and click it away. So you have 2 lines. If you zoom out, you see you have 2 lines there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to add and go to repeater, and I'm just going to repeat in the x-axis. Okay, right now you have 3 copies, so you have 1, 2, 3. So you have too many space between these 2 lines, right? So just go inside transform repeater, and if I change the x position, you can see you can bring this closer, right? So let's just make it like this, and if you increase the copies to maybe 20, you can see you have a very cool zipper line-like effect. So you can just increase the copies to however copies you want. So you have this, okay? And one more effect I also added was I will just add a simple choker, and you can just zoom in and see I will just give a negative numbers, or yeah, a -5 or something. Yeah, that makes it more like a zipper line. Okay, so that's how I created that. Once you're happy with that, you can just move it just here, somewhere
If
here.
you find this video helpful so far, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to master After Effects and land high-paying clients, sign up for my new After Effects course. I'll be releasing it very soon.
And let's go inside the title, double click on it, and let's go ahead and texture this. So I have a bunch of textures here. You can also grab the project file from my Patreon page. You'll get all the assets and the project file there. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag in this texture and drag it just below the text, and I'm just going to track matte the texture on the text, and you can just scale the texture down, something like that. I'm also going to add some curves to adjustment to this curves, and I'm just going to add some contrast, something like this. And what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to add lumetri color, go to basic correction, and just going to increase the temperature a touch so that we have a little bit on the warmer tones here. Okay, once you're happy with this, let's go ahead and create the background. So I also have these textures. I'm just going to use all these textures. Let's just drag and drop it inside the project. And let's drop in the first texture, which is where is it? This one. This is the second texture. I'm also going to import the texture, which is this. And I'm just going to put this one on top of that texture, and I'm just going to change the blending mode to overlay, and also I'm also going to use this texture on top of that and change this to soft light, and you can also scale it down, something like that. And one more texture, this one, just going to drag and drop it there and scale it down, change this blending mode to soft light, or I can just change it to color burn or classic color burn. And I'm also going to add a new solid, make it black, and hit OK. Put it just above the texture here, the background texture, and just go and click on this ellipse tool and double click on it and subtract this. Hit F to feather this and create something like vignetting. You can just select the points and you can just adjust these and change the blending mode to classic color burn. I think multiply seems to be nice for these grunge textures. And I'm just going to scale this a little bit, something like that. But you can see that the text is not too much visible right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to just select on the title, and I'm just going to add a drop shadow, and just going to increase the opacity, distance, and maybe softness, and with a subtle shadows like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this texture and change this mode to color burn. Okay, that makes it more visible like that. Okay, so that's really nice now. And what we're going to do is we're going to now mask this to the text. So I'm going to duplicate this, Control D to duplicate, and just rename this zipper line. Okay, and I'm just going to set this track matte onto the shape, and you have the same thing because you have the same textures on it. I'm just going to add a fill on that layer and just drop shadow, delete the drop shadow, and maybe change this to black or whatever color you want the zipper line to be. And I can just go and select the zipper line, and I can just adjust the simple matte choke matte values. Maybe 2 and -2 should be fine for this. And you can also change the color to white or black. I think black should be nice for this. And right now you can see that whenever the text opens up, you'll have the zipper there. Okay. And once you're happy with that, I can just drag and drop the zipper head, just drag it here and hit R, and I'm just going to rotate this to -90 and scale this to, I don't know, 10. Yes. And I'm just going to start the animation from here. We go to the first frame, and maybe I'm just going to start from here, hit P, set a keyframe, go to the first frame, set a keyframe for the position, and maybe go to the last here, and you can just animate the zipper on the x-axis and select all the keyframes, F9, and if you play it back now, let's go to the graph and just try to adjust this. All right, so that's great, and I'm just going to add a drop shadow on the zipper hat, and let's just see the drop shadow effect. Maybe a distance to a little bit like this, and softness, and increase the opacity if you want, and increase the softness. And I can also add a curse. Just put it on top of the shadow, I mean drop shadow, and just adjust the curves here for the zipper hat. Okay, so all right, that's great. Let's go ahead and create a new adjustment layer, because I want this to place just above the black solid, just below the text. And I'm just going to add a Gaussian blur because the background you see is too sharp. Maybe I just want to add a little bit subtle blurriness to this, maybe 2. Yep, because that was too sharp. Okay, comes back and zip it in. All right, so that's great. And now that you have the design and the background ready, you can animate the camera, dolly in camera. So before that, we need to turn on the 3D for all these layers. So if you turn on the 3D, you can see that everything is here in place. All you have to do is just select the background layers, and I'm just going to separate this, and by creating this and pre-comp. Okay, so this is where you want to make use of pre-comps to organize your project files. Okay, so I'm just going to rename this PG, hit OK, and make this 3D, and hit P, and I'm just going to push it towards the background and push it, I mean scale it up again. Control Shift and C to pre-compose it, and just rename this title. Hit OK, and I'm just going to duplicate this again, and I'm just rename this shadow. Right click, transform vertically, and I'm just going to move it down. And what I'm also going to do is add a fill, and I think make this black, and so add a, I'm just going to add a Gaussian blur to this as well, and I'm just going to make this blending mode to soft light. Yeah, something like that. And maybe even Gaussian blur, increase the Gaussian blur even more. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new camera, and it's going to be 35 mil. Hit OK, and hit P, hold down Shift and A. So I'm just going to set a keyframe for the point of interest and the position. I'm just going to scrub it here, maybe here, the timeline. And I'm just going to hit C to toggle between different modes of the camera. And I'm going to use this dolly in. And I'm just going to dolly in something like that. Okay. Hit C again. I'm just going to move it to the center, kind of the center here. And what I have is this. Okay. So I'm just going to add a easy is select all the keyframes, F9. And one more thing I would also add is add an adjustment layer. And I'm just going to add a Gaussian blur again. and maybe 30. Select the ellipse tool, double click on the ellipse tool to create a mask, hit subtract, and maybe I'm just gonna make the shape even smaller like this. Hit F on the keyboard, feather it, something like this. I'm just gonna feather it like this. And I'm just going to add a little bit of distortion to the text, okay? And create a new adjustment layer, add a optics compensation. And if I check this reverse, and I'm just going to animate this guy, right? The view center. So I'm just going to make this here. Set this here. Go to the first and set a keyframe for the view center. And just move to the end of the keyframe. And I'm just going to move this to the left here and duplicate this, Control D, and just go to the first. And this time, I'm just going to move this to the right. And let's just go to the last keyframe here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it. All right, so that's how I recreated this Bagman title animation. I hope you learned something from this. Make sure to go ahead and watch this video next, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.